refill also the Hemocyte F, and I know without even bringing it up that I want to refill it exactly the same way it was filled last time, and I don't want to have to bother with that extra screen to tell it so. So that's where this same refill button comes in handy. You just click same refill, click that OK button. It doesn't bring up that other dialog that allows you to change the details of the prescription. Now you just got it refilled the same way it was last time, and it saves you a few clicks. Now another helpful thing is you can actually select more than one prescription to refill and click the refill or the same refill button, and it'll do them all at once. Now if I was to click the same refill button here, they'd both turn green and they'd both be refilled just like last time. If I click the refill button, that's telling the machine, okay, I want to refill them, but I want to go ahead and have the opportunity to make some changes to them when I refill them, and so it'll bring up one of them first. I'll make my changes. Okay, this time I only want to give them 0 refills, and so I click save. I guess Mickey's allergic to everything, and then after I'm done with that one, it brings up the other one automatically, and so I make my change to that one, and let's say I wanted to make that change, whatever, then I click save, and so now I've refilled all these medicines. So it's helpful to be able to go in through and select several of them and then click refill or same refill or whatever and have it pop them up for you one after another. We've gone over the stop meds. You can view the patient's allergy list here from within the RX writer, which is also helpful. You can add things and remove them from the allergy list. I think that if they're allergic to something that is in one of these categories here, it's better to select the category than it is to just type it in, because if you select NSAID here from the list, then it will warn you when you try to prescribe any NSAID, whereas if you just type in NSAID, it doesn't recognize the text as representing what it takes as being an NSAID. And you can also list the actual reaction. You can type it in or select there. And if you delete an allergy, it wants you to give a reason for why you're deleting it also to show on the record. Now, you'll probably never select this RX print setup, but the question now remains, how do we print a prescription once we've already lined up all the prescriptions that we are giving the patient that day? And this is where you just click print or route script. Now it brings up this thing that you can actually sign it like you're signing it with a pen using your mouse. You click and hold, but nobody ever uses that. You always just close that out, and now you've got the dialog for your print that it's ready to print. Now it's going to look like garbage here, but when you actually print it out, it's going to look like it's supposed to with the header and everything. It's just got some kind of formatting text on here for the computer to make it look right. Now you can make some changes here if you wanted to go in and correct something or add something or take something away. It'll let you do it, but just keep in mind, if you make a change here right before you print on this dialog, it's not going to be stored on the patient's record. It's not going to show up on the chart. So if I'm like, oh well, I want to change this to dexedrine 20, yeah, when I print it out, it's going to show up as dexedrine 20 on the piece of paper that I print, but it's still going to show that it was filled as dexedrine 10 on the patient's electronic chart. And here you just click the print button, and the normal print dialog. It's usually by default the correct printer for that suite, so you usually shouldn't have to change that. Although recently we've added a special printer for Medicaid prescriptions that prints on some security paper, and if it's a Medicaid prescription instead of Red MD, you're going to need to find the RX Red printer, which actually I don't even see on this list, but just keep in mind that it should be on the list if you were printing from actually within the teaching room in one of the clinics. I don't know what the names of the printers are that print on security paper in the OBGYN, internal medicine, and peds clinics. You'll have to check with them. I wouldn't necessarily click save script. If you click save script, it's going to save it in the document list where all the old notes go, and I just think that it sort of makes that list too long. If every time you write a prescription you save it in that list. Most of the time when people go to the chart button and the document list, they want to look through notes. They don't want to have to look through old prescriptions. You can always go to the prescription writer and look and see what they've been taking. Now this shows what they're on. If you want to uncheck this show active items only, then it's going to show everything they've ever been prescribed and the stuff that has since then been stopped is going to show up in red. So I don't think that it's makes much sense to clutter up the document list with stuff that you can get elsewhere in the chart. That's about it for the This lesson is going to deal with a clinical vignette. We've got a 6-month-old child that we're going to run through a fake visit with, including the generation of the note, placing of orders, and everything. This is a 6-month-old, and let's just say that the chief complaint is fever, and we've gone in, we've taken the history, and the child's just been kind of fussy, has had a fever for the past couple of days, and we've examined the child, and everything pretty much seems normal except it looks like they have a eardrum, left ear infection. So what we'll do is we'll go into pediatrics, office note pediatrics, and let's go into expanded problem. You could do this through the trees, but there's not a good one for fever. First we'll click our attending note. This is my habit to do the attending note first under history. Let's say that the attending is Dr. Alexander, and I think I'm just going to type the history in the freeform note because I don't know of a good one for an otitis media where they just say that they've had fever. So we'll just say child has been fussy and has had fever up to 101 since 2 days ago. Eating less, not sleeping well. Save, click exit. Now if there's anything in the social history we might want to add, like whether there are any smokers in the home, we can bring it up. We can ignore this from a previous view, and let's just go ahead and say no smokers in the home. Since the child is 6 months old, it's probably pertinent to have the past medical history in there, so we'll just include that as well in the note and review it. Now, for the examination, birth to 14 months, under exam, pediatric brief, constitutional, fussy, consolable. Now, you can click the normals button, but when you do, it brings up the normals for every single system. If you only want to include a few systems, but you want them to be what would show up in the normals, you can click in this little column right here. So let's say the eyes were normal, ears were not, left TM okay, right TM red, opaque. The nose was normal, throat was normal, chest, cardiac, and we're all normal. Now, that's it for the exam. The vitals will show up automatically if the nurse had taken vitals, which they won't show up in this note because it's not an actual visit and there were no vitals taken. Now the assessment, we click on diagnosis, add diagnosis. Most of the time you can find your diagnosis in the common list. You can just start typing otitis media, you can find it. So here it is, acute. What we say it was the right. You don't have to do that, but it is helpful. And then you just click add. Now it's showing up there. And then the plan, I could type in everything I told the mom to do,